All right, let's dive into the absolute heart of what makes a web page feel alive, JavaScript events. This is the secret sauce, the magic that turns a static page into something you can actually interact with. Think about it. You do these things all day, every day, without a second thought. But every single one of those actions, it's a signal. It's a tiny message being sent inside the browser that says, hey, the user's doing something over here. So what's the actual connection between your mouse click and, say, a menu popping up? How does your key press turn into letters on the screen? That's the mystery we're unpacking today. How JavaScript listens for those signals, and then more importantly, how it reacts. Okay, so to get started, let's really nail down this core idea. Before we can make anything happen, we need some kind of trigger. In our world, that trigger is called an event. And honestly, the best way to think about an event is just as a signal. And that's really all there is to it. An event is just the browser's way of raising its hand and saying, hey, just so you know, this thing just happened. It's not the action itself, it's just the notification. The signal goes out, and then it's our code's job to catch it and do something cool. And these signals, these events, they are happening all the time. It's not just the obvious stuff like clicking or typing. It can also be things the browser does, like when a page finally finishes loading all its images, or when you grab the corner of the window and resize it. Every single one of these is a hook for our code. Okay, so we know these signals are firing off all over the place. Now for the really fun part. How do we actually catch them? This is where we get our hands dirty and look at the #1 tool JavaScript gives us for listening. The easiest way to think about this is like a simple 3-step recipe. First, you've got to tell JavaScript what to watch. Is it a button, an image, the entire page? That's your target. Second, you tell it which signal you're waiting for, a click, a mouse over, and finally, the most important part, you give it the instructions, what should actually happen when that signal comes through. And here's what that recipe looks like in actual code. See, step 1, we target our element. Step 2, we use addEventListener to tell it we're listening for a click. And step 3, we give it the instructions. In this case, a simple function to pop up an alert. Target, event, instructions. This pattern is the bread and butter of interactive JavaScript. So now that you've got the basics down, let's peel back another layer. Because it turns out, when an event happens, it doesn't just happen in one spot. It actually goes on a little journey through your web page. And knowing about that journey gives you a whole lot of power. Believe it or not, every event actually travels 2 ways. First, there's the trip down the family tree, starting from the very top of the page all the way down to the element you clicked on. That's called the capturing phase. Then, immediately, it turns around and goes all the way back up. That's the bubbling phase. Now, 99% of the time, we use the bubbling phase, the journey up, to listen to our events. But just knowing that both paths exist is a total game changer for advanced stuff. All right, theory is great, but let's talk about the real world. This next part is all about saving you from the headaches and the common mistakes that basically every single developer runs into when they're first learning about events. First up, if you ever see this onclick attribute written right inside an HTML tag, just know that's the old school, outdated way of doing it. It kind of works, sure, but it mixes your page structure with your page behavior, and that can get really messy really fast. The modern, clean, professional way to do it is to keep your JavaScript in its own file and use addEventListener. This is way better because it keeps everything organized and it's so much more flexible. For instance, you can easily add multiple listeners for the same event on one element, which you just can't do with the old onclick attribute. Oh, this one is a lifesaver. Ever build a form, hit the submit button, and the entire page reloads. Super annoying, right? That's the browser's default behavior. This one little line of code, e.preventDefault, is how you stop it. You're basically telling the browser, hey, hang on, don't do your normal thing, I've got this. Remember that little E we just saw? Do not ignore it. That is the event object, and it's like a treasure chest of info that comes with every single event. It can tell you exactly which element triggered the event with e.target, or which specific keyboard key was pressed with e.key. This little object is where all the juicy details are. Okay, so you've got the fundamentals, you know the common traps to avoid. Let's finish this off with a true pro-level technique, one that's not just way more efficient, but will definitely make you look smart in a code review. It's called event delegation. So imagine you have a list with like 100 items, and you need to do something when any of them are clicked. Instead of creating 100 different event listeners, you just put one single listener on the parent list. Then, thanks to our friend the event object, you can use e.target to figure out exactly which of the 100 items was clicked. It's so much cleaner and way, way faster. And really, that's the big takeaway here. From a simple click all the way up to advanced stuff like delegation, understanding events is what gives you the power as a developer. It's the toolkit you need to build things that feel alive, that respond to users, and create those awesome experiences we all love. So there you have it, the signal, the listener, and the reaction. You now have the fundamental building block for pretty much all interactivity on the web. The only question left is the one you see right here. Now that you've got the power, what are you going to build?